Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This is quite a different video, and I'm not changing the scope of my channel at all, but I thought it might be fun to talk about one of the other side projects that I've been working on recently, which is working on my car. This is a 2005 Subaru Outback that I bought a couple years ago. I bought it with just about 140,000 miles on it, and I didn't know any of the maintenance history or anything like that. So I've just slowly been working on it, making sure that I'm trying to make sure that it stays running well, and that that I'm doing preventative maintenance to keep it running well. And I'm also doing some slight modifications to make it a little bit more capable of doing the things that I want it to be doing. So um, and really for this video, it's just I think it's fun sometimes when we can kind of see a little bit more of the background of each other. I'm a video game channel and mostly with flight sims, but I have other things that I do too, and so sometimes it might be fun um, to share that, I guess. I also want to mention that I have done videos about this car on another YouTube channel that I manage. I don't really post to it anymore because of a variety of reasons, but if you happen to see th this car on that channel, I'm not stealing content. It's just that I have two YouTube channels. And since this is the one I'm focusing on most now, I thought it would be fun to just post it over here. So that's that. The things I've done so far on this car. When I first got it, it had a wheel bearing or a wheel hub going out, and so I replaced that. And at the same time, I replaced and upgraded the suspension. So I got it uses struts. There's struts on all four corners, and I just bought new strut assemblies that are um, have stiffened king springs on them. So I got about an inch extra clearance on the back, and I think 3/4 or so on the front. And you can get around 2 inches on these without really having any issues, but I wanted to make sure that my CVs were not going to be in trouble, have issues. So I did that. A little bit later I did the brakes, and then I started having an axle issue. It wasn't really having an issue, but the boot separated and it was slinging grease, and so I went ahead and just replaced it with a Raxel's axle, and that's a fairly high quality replacement axle. So that is pretty much all I've done so far, and that brings us up to date and into the current project. Okay, so on the current part of the project that I was doing, it was just engine maintenance, like I said, and I apologize because none of these pictures are all that great, and I didn't document the entire process. I was using my camera, and it doesn't take great pictures, but anyway, we pulled the motor out, and I won't go into detail on that. It wasn't too hard. Got it on an engine stand. Took all the stuff off the rocker covers, the valve, the timing belt, the heads, the manifold, the cooling pipe, and I damaged the clutch in the process, so we took it off. Then I painted the rocker covers, and I painted the manifold. Had to take all the stuff off of the intake manifold, and painted that with some high temp primer and high temp paint, um, just for fun. Like that I like taping things off and painting them to make them look snazzy. So that was literally just for fun. This isn't a sports car, but anyway, it was good. It was enjoyable. So then we started. I had to sand down the heads and clean up the pistons and the valves and put new timing belt, new sorry head gaskets on. Put new timing belt and idlers on. Seals for the rocker covers. Put those back on. Seals for the water pipe. Put that back on. Got it timed. And I'm going through this quickly. Sorry for that, but new intake gaskets. Put the intake back on, and this is the car pretty much, or the engine pretty much ready to go back in the car. New clutch assembly and eventually new exhaust gaskets as well. And then came the moment of truth. We fired it up, and it fired up. Um, and I drove it home, and everything so far is pretty good. Now, this is my first. I've taken an engine out before, but I've never done any kind of work on an engine like this with gaskets and things like that. So it was exciting, it was fun, and it was a good learning experience. And this isn't too bad of a motor to do it on. It turns out I didn't really need to do that much stuff because everything was in actually really good shape. The clutch was in good shape, the timing belt was in good shape, all of the idlers and pulleys and bearings were in good shape. The gaskets and head gaskets had been done before with high quality aftermarket head gaskets. The oil separator cover had been done with a high quality oil separator cover. So everything was looking good on this car, on this engine, and I really didn't need to do all of that, but it was fun to do it, and in the process now I know that it's just in good shape. The one thing that or two things that I think I did accomplish, there was some oil leaking around the rocker cover, or what I call valve covers, and I think I solved that. I haven't found any oil dripping from the new gaskets there, and there was a an exhaust leak, which I think was throwing a PO420 engine code, which is the catalyst system efficiency below threshold code. And normally, if you take that to a shop, they're going to slap new catalytic converters or O2 sensors or both on it, and that's really expensive. That can oftentimes fix the code temporarily, but if it's not the root cause, it won't fix it long term, and you're out the money and you can't do anything about it. So, in this particular case, I think it may have been the exhaust leak that I knew about. That's certainly one of the causes that, or the root causes that can give you a PO420 engine code. That code usually comes on within 10 or 20 miles of driving after I clear it. And so far, it hasn't come on. I've driven the car about 30 miles or so and around town a few different times, and so far it hasn't come on. So I'm hoping that I solved that issue. That would be pretty snazzy. I wasn't that worried about it, but at any rate, it would be really slick if that was the cause and it wasn't a catalytic converter. I think that wraps it up. Again, sorry for the lack of detail and pictures and stuff, but it was a fun project, and for I guess the moral of the story, the moral of this video for me would be, don't be afraid to take on projects. I know that sometimes it can be a little daunting, and if you don't have the tools or the space to do something like this, I get it, take it to a shop. I barely had the tools and the space with the help of friends and family, but um, but if you do have even close to the tools and the space, don't be afraid to try this kind of stuff if it's something you're interested in, because this entire project, um, plus the axle, cost $1,500 about. That's what I've spent on this car in maintenance this year. To do all the stuff that I did to this car, I imagine at a shop it would be at least $3,000, probably more, to pull the engine, pull the heads, sand the heads down, do the clutch, all that stuff. Basically, I'm in it for $1,500 and some beers and some food for the people that were helping me, and time wise, probably less than a full work week, when I add it all up together. So this is something that I'd normally, 10 years ago, I wouldn't have tackled this, but I'm just really trying to be intentional about getting over my fear of doing projects like this, and just using the opportunity to learn more about the things that I want to learn about. So I would encourage everybody out there to do the same thing if you have the chance. And with that, I will sign off, and I'll catch you guys again next time with an actual video game video. Thanks for watching.